Hi everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. So as you can see, this is a little bit of a different video. Today I'm joined with some lovely ladies. I have got the purple sector, I've got Charlotte and I've got Hannah. I have got Beth from Beth F1 and I have got Dawny from F1 Dawny. And today we are going to basically be having a little bit of a chat about the current situation around Renault. Now I think we all know what the situation is. Renault have announced today that they are signing Fernando Alonso for 2021 and we thought we'd have a little chat about the situation. Basically, it is very controversial at the moment. Some people love it, some people hate it. It really is 50-50. So we thought we'd start a new series where we just have a little chat about it. We don't actually know what we're going to call this yet, but if you do have any suggestions, leave it in the comment section below, because we want to make this into a series and do this every couple of weeks, and have a little chat about whatever's going on in Formula One. So yeah, let's just get started now. I think the first thing I need to ask you is, what do you think about this? Kind of a simple, do you agree with it? Do you think they should have signed Fernando, or do you think they could have gone with someone else?
I am not happy. I think I've made it so clear on my Twitter already that I am not happy with the situation, for multiple reasons, which you'll go in. But for me, it's a big fat no.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why they've done it. There's obviously a lot of pros that come with it, but also no.
Yeah, I agree. I can see each side, but no thanks.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm absolutely tamping, fuming, raging at the news. Like, proper Welsh thing, but I'm not happy about it. The fact that they signed Fernando Alonso when there were so many other available drivers, but also there's been the whole thing about, they could have signed the junior drivers. Oh no, they need to rush into the decision. And I'm like, mate, the season's going to be going on to probably about December at this rate. You could have waited to see how F2 turned out and then made a decision. I think this is going to backfire massively.
Exactly, and that's what I think. I think that is the main decision, and I think that's the main argument that people are having at the moment. Is you've signed Fernando Alonso, the guy who won the championship with you like 15 years ago. This isn't like it was 5 years ago. This is 15 years ago we're talking about. Was this a good idea, considering you have so many young drivers in your driver academy? And I don't think it is, personally. I'm really big on junior drivers, and I'm seeing the talent that's coming up. And it's not just like all these drivers are, in Formula 4 or in Formula Renault. You have championship contenders in Formula 2. Where's the next step? There's only one more up, and it's Formula 1. And if you're filling that with a gap that's, Fernando Alonso, I just think it's stupid.
I think what Renault's main problem is unlike Ferrari, Ferrari have also got a lot of talent which are coming through at the moment, and it's starting to get a little bit worrying that they're going to have a bottleneck situation. But at least they're not in Renault's point of view, where they don't even have a junior team that they can start to filter these young drivers in. And it seems like the argument that a lot of people are having is Renault need Alonso in that seat because Ocon hasn't got the experience yet. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that Alonso has had 2-3 seasons in Formula 1 already. Yes, he's had 1 year out, but he's a lot more experienced than some of the drivers that are on that grid at the moment. For example, you take Lando, who's only in his second season of Formula 1, yet he's already managed to get a podium. You can see the combination of him and Sainz is leading the McLaren in a really, really good direction. So I don't really see that argument for putting Fernando in the seat purely for his experience.
Yeah, I also agree, because if you just look at how he was in his last stint in F1 with the McLaren, every time something went wrong with that car, he would moan. Something could be going perfectly fine and he could have ended up in the points, but he would retire the car because he wasn't happy with it. Like, we know Renault are not reliable, so how the hell is this going to work out?
I can see why trying to get a junior or putting a junior in that seat and Renault saying that they are fighting for 4th place and wanting to do better. I can see the kind of gap there, but Renault knew that when they have their junior program. So where realistically do they expect these juniors to go?
Exactly.
Like, doesn't make sense. And also, I just don't think bringing Alonso back is, like, what's it actually doing? Surely Hulkenberg would have been a better option.
Absolutely.
Like, he has been in the car recently, he knows the team, he's kind of integrated into it already, he has that experience, he can lead someone on, and he's not bringing everyone's questioning why Kim is still in the sport. We are literally taking someone back who was at their prime 15 years ago. Like,
I also wonder though, where on earth have they got this money from? Like, the big criticism they had for Daniel Ricciardo was how much money they spent on him. Like, the fact that all the details of Daniel's contract deal came out because of the lawsuit, and I'm looking at it going, mate, this is probably the worst negotiation that I could do here. Like, full on. I don't even know what they're thinking. And like, if you look at McLaren and their financial difficulties they've had, Renault will probably have something similar. The car manufacturing industry is tanking at the moment because of the coronavirus, and you're going to spend that amount of money and invest it in Fernando Alonso and not in the car. And the budget, at this rate, if Fernando's still in the sport when the budget cap comes in, you're going to be wasting so much of your budget on one driver. Like,
is there not an exception for like the top 3 highest? I'm sure there's a thing in the budget cap.
Yeah, I don't think driver contracts come into play. But
no, drivers.
But still,
either way,
money.
Yeah. And especially as well, Renault, we know it's a French company. A lot of their money comes from the French government. So that is the French taxpayers' money going into Fernando Alonso's bank account. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you'd expect a company like that to invest their money into young drivers, especially all the money as well, and hope that they're putting into this young driver program to then do what with them? What are you going to do with them after Formula 2? Like, where are you going to send them? Are they going to go to some other series like GT, or are they going to go to Formula E, or like, what are you going to do with them? Because it's not like Renault have other teams in other areas. Like, even with Mercedes, they've been able to send people to Formula E, but where were Renault? Where are they? What are they going to do with them? I just don't understand. And it's worrying. I should think them juniors are worrying.
They're literally going to turn Guan... Oh, sorry.
No, on you go. You're fine.
I was going to say, they're going to turn Guan Yu and Christian Lundgaard into the Pascal Wehrlein situation. Yeah. If they end up getting them on the grid, they'll loan them out to a different team, same as Mercedes did to Ocon at Renault, and now he's had to leave the Mercedes development program. It's like, you're going to tank those drivers' careers, and for what?
Like, the best they've got at the minute is reserve drivers, which we all know when was a reserve driver ever last properly used. It was seasons ago. Exactly. And for 1 race, 2 races.
Anyone else want to make a comment about the young drivers? Obviously, they are good. Like, Christian Lundgaard is really, really fast. Obviously, he done F3 last year. Absolutely, really, really fast. Made his mark, went up into Formula 2. Obviously, Guan Yu Zhou, don't think we even need to speak about how good he is. Like, he's absolutely amazing. But they've also got young drivers in Formula Renault. They've got drivers in Formula 3. Like, you've got all these drivers that in the next couple of years are going to come up. And I think another thing, kind of moving on from that, is the fact that they've signed a 2-year deal, which I think is very, very big. I feel like, okay, if you gave him a year, but you've given him 2 years. And to be honest, I don't think Fernando would have taken a year. I think if you would have asked Nico Hülkenberg, he might have taken a year. Yeah. But Fernando said, if I come back into this sport, I want to come back in a team that's winning. For a start, Renault are not winning. For a second, like, they're just not. Like, they're absolutely not. They're very much the opposite at the moment. But second of all, he's coming back because he wants to stay. Like, he's not just going to move over when you think a junior is ready to take his place.
Exactly, and it's like, for 2 years, I know we've got the new regs and push back, but for 2 years he's going to have the same unreliable car. And then I also, like, what if one of them wins F2? Where are they going to go? There's not going to be any space for 2 years. Then there's not going to be enough space for them in F2 in F1 because there's no seats anyway. So it's just taking space for no reason.
I would have understood more if it was just a simple 1-year deal. I would have understood that, particularly with the regulations coming in 2022. That I would think new regulations, like new young driver lineup, that's something that could possibly work. And you can see that's where Ferrari are starting to head with their lineup of Leclerc and Sainz next year. And I just don't understand why Renault aren't following in that same footsteps, because come the new regulations, we know things are going to change, but it might take a couple of years for things to catch up for these midfield teams such as Renault to catch up to the big teams of Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari. So is Alonso going to want to stay for 1 year of the new regs, especially if he thinks things are going in the right direction? I don't think so. I think he'll want to stay in that team a lot longer than at the moment we think he will.
I think as well, so realistically, best chance we've got the juniors coming in 2023, which means that they're coming into new regs, a new team. They're already going to be on the back foot. They're going to be behind. They're going to take a year and a half to get up to pace, get all accustomed to everything, which is just pushing Renault back even further. Fair enough if they take them in now and they are young and inexperienced, that's fair, but they're looking ahead. Renault just seem to be looking at this year. Who's the best driver we can have this year? Not, okay, right, we've got a long-term plan. We've got 4-year plan. They're going to be rubbish this year, but they're going to learn the car the next year. It's the new regs. And then when we get to the year after, then they'll be able to fight. But no, they've just gone, no, we'll just take someone in now and then maybe we can think about them and just plunk them in a car and they'll be able to do fine.
I honestly think they were banking on Ricciardo staying a lot longer than 2 years, and him leaving for McLaren has thrown a spanner in the works, and as a result, we've got Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Big time.
I also think the fact that McLaren are obviously swapping to the Mercedes engines, they'll be the only Renault engine team on the grid. Like, their fortunes are tanking massively at the moment.
They're literally fighting a losing battle, aren't they? It's just like there is, you know, there's no backup team. There is no backup team. And like you said with Ferrari, as much as they have got a sticky situation with the fact that they've got so many good drivers coming up, they have room at Alpha if Giovinazzi does not impress and if Kimi retires. Yeah. Obviously, I don't actually agree with really what they've done with the main team Ferrari with signing Carlos, because I think that does hinder the Ferrari juniors. But Renault have no room for this. You know, they've got Esteban in, which I think was a good move. But Fernando, he's not just going to move over. Like, he's not just going to move over. And it's almost sad because I was speaking to someone on Twitter about this. I said, I almost want Joe to not do as well this year in Formula 2 because of the fact that I'm worried for him next year. And I kind of felt the same with Nick de Vries last year. I really wanted him to win the championship, but at the same time, there was no room for him in Formula 1. So it's like, where do you go from here? Luckily, obviously, he then signed for Mercedes. But I'm worried about Joe because if he does win this championship, he's going to fade away. And at the same time, these juniors aren't like Joe. I think Joe's like 20 now. He's not like 17. 20, I know it's young, but nowadays it's getting younger and younger. And if he gets to the stage where he's like 23, 24, people are going to say he's too old and they're not going to want him.
Well, yeah, if you look at Lando now, he's just turned 20 and this is his second season in F1. So, like, for Joe to be already 20 and still not be in an F1 car when he really deserves to be next season, it's just like, where does he go from there? Like, he's not going to be a junior. He's not going to be in an academy because he'll just be too old by then.
We look at Max and we forget that Max is 22 and in his 5th season of Formula 1. These guys are getting younger and younger, and it's going to get to the point where if Renault then later on decide, okay, we need to look long term, they're going to look at the drivers below who are coming through from Formula 3. They're going to be the drivers they're going to look at, not the ones that they've put on the back burner and suddenly they see are too old.
Yeah.
Like, I think You go.
You say you go, Tony.
I think part of Renault's problem as well is they keep looking for the poster boys. So, like, 2016 it was Kevin, then it was Carlos, then it was Nico, then it was Daniel. Now it's like, just pick 2 drivers.
They are our future.
Teach. Yeah. Like, pick 2 drivers and train those drivers rather than just ditching them and kick them out the team when they don't drive or leaving as Daniel did.
Like, that's the thing. If you look at the driver lineups Renault have had since 2016, they've been so erratic. They had Julian Palmer and then dropped him.
Like halfway through.
Hulkenberg. But also, I think they've gone for that old adage of short-term gain, long-term pain. Is they've gone for Alonso as being the brand ambassador. He's going to bring so much attention to Renault that they think is going to be a good thing, and it's going to backfire. When the results don't go their way, the negative press they're going to get. Like, Mercedes want to keep Lewis, not just because he's an amazing driver, he's a champion, he's an ambassador for that role. And it's the whole idea of victory sells cars. It's like, if you ever watch Le Mans 66, that's the whole reason Ford went into Le Mans, was because it looked like victory for Ferrari. And then for Renault, all it's going to do is generate so much negative press from the team. I think if they don't get a winning car and Alonso full-on slates the team, several will be out.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like you see how much press it was these like past couple of days because of the rumours that he's signing, and now he's signed, like the actual like newspapers everywhere. All he needs to do is do one bad radio message slating the team, and that'll be straight on BBC F1 website, like, and that's already one bit of bad press. And then if it just keeps going down and down and down, all them good storylines they had from this week is just going to be pointless, and they're just going to be back in the same situation where they was at the start of the year.
Exactly. It's like it's almost as if Renault think that there's going to be good press from him, but actually there might have been good press from him 10 years ago. But personally, for me, when he was in his McLaren days, at the end of the season, it really put a bad light on McLaren from my perspective. I didn't look at McLaren in a good way, especially not like I do now. And obviously, I think I know the team a little bit more now, but he put such a bad light on, and even on Honda as well. Like, we've seen how good Honda have been with that Red Bull, but he put such a bad light on Honda that it indoctrinated people to think that Honda aren't very good. And I don't know, I think I've seen a lot more negative press about Alonso than I thought I would around this, obviously including myself, but I thought I'd be more of a minority, because he's not a bad driver, but I just think, why bring back the past? You don't, why what's the motive? I really don't understand. It's not
That's
like
the thing, like he is a world champion, like he's a great driver.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any doubt.
15 years ago, not now.
I know.
And I saw a tweet like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon saying we don't like Alonso. No, we like Alonso in the past, not now.
I don't know what he can bring, because I mean, as much as he's like, he's going to bring in a lot of sponsors, he's going to bring in a lot of money, but at the same time he's costing a lot. So I don't understand. I don't get it. But
yeah, I that's the one thing that my dad pointed out. Shout out to my papa. He said that Fernando will cost a lot to begin with, but we know Renault's got that money because Daniel's left. But regardless of that, he will cost a lot to begin with, but chances are he's going to bring a lot of money back to Renault, and really in this scenario that's what Renault need.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I think. I think another thing which I saw Andrew Benson tweet out, or I think he wrote an article on it. He's very quick to jump to any sort of rumour, but he said that Pierre Gasly may sign for Renault in 2022, and I was kind of looking at it and working it out, and I think what he's saying...
Wait, no.
Go on.
I don't think he did say that.
Really? Or was that fake?
Yeah.
Was it? Are you sure? Because I thought I saw him tweet it.
Did he tweet?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, never mind. Well,
Literally, I saw
let me check the receipt.
Oh. Well, actually, even if he didn't say it, I think that it could be a possibility, and I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah, I think one of like Pierre or Daniel coming over. Obviously, they're not getting hired at Red Bull. The AlphaTauri, Tyree is not amazing.
No.
Like, get one of them to jump ship.
Exactly.
If you're wanting someone to fill the gap for a couple of years.
And I think what they were going to do is they were going to have Gasly. I don't know whether, I guess they might have kept Fernando, but they were going to have Gasly in the second seat. And I think what they were presuming, or what I was trying to work out, was maybe Esteban would go to Mercedes with George Russell, depending on whether Lewis is going to stick around for long. Obviously, I don't know about but I don't know.
I don't see Lewis moving for a very, very long time.
I think
whilst Mercedes are at the top of the game, no.
Yeah, I feel like he's not. I don't think he'd move. I think he'd either leave or however long he feels.
I think Lewis will stay until he at least beats Schumacher's records. Daniel Kvyat will be out of the AlphaTauri at the end of this year. Like, if you look at Formula 2, they've got, I think, 2 or 3 Red Bull juniors. You've also got Yuri Vips and Sergio Sette Camara over in Super Formula. Like, but they're very much Red Bull. You can tell by the fact that Super Formula season's been delayed. They put Yuri Vips back in Formula Regional for the year just to get the points he needs so that they can get someone in that AlphaTauri. Pierre, I think, would be a good fit at Renault. I didn't see why, because they could probably buy him out of the contract. Like, unless Alex Albon tanks it this year,
which I don't think is going to happen, if I'm honest.
No, I think Pierre's, looking at Pierre, he's never going to get back in that Red Bull seat because everything that happened. Red Bull would never let that happen regardless of how good he
And I would really hope that he would not want to after the way that he was treated, because I wouldn't go back if I was treated like that.
But then I think begs the question of, like, maybe Nico was approached, but he didn't want to go back after the way he's been treated, because we obviously don't know. Although I don't know how true that is.
I was just trying to read and see if I could see any articles, and there are. I mean, there's always rumours about what drivers are going where, but I mean,
I think Pierre would be a perfect fit for Renault as well. I don't see why they would ever see that wasn't a viable option. It was something that whenever someone make a fleeting comment of Pierre going to Renault, you think, no, that's silly. But then you sit and think about it and you're like, no, I can see that from happening. I think it would generally be a good fit. It will mean he would break away from that Red Bull family. He would be in, again, like Ocon, French driver, French team. And but the only thing is, apparently Gasly and Ocon don't get on.
Who does Ocon actually get on with?
Yeah, that's true. Who does he get on with?
They were best friends when they were younger, and I think then when they started karting a little bit more, things got a little bit sour. You know, as sometimes they do, and I think they get on to the point now where they can speak to each other. But it's a shame. I think they were literally like best friends, but then I don't think it kind of. I think they probably butted heads when one was beating the other, but they probably learn to get on nowadays. But I don't know if it would be the best choice or not, because they have openly still said nowadays, I don't really like him. Yeah. But anyway, we'll kind of round this up now. Any final thoughts on what you think of this move? Like, is there any other things you want to add? Is there anything you feel? Let me know.
Oh, the combination of Cyril and Alonso, it's either going to work beautifully or it's going to create an absolute disaster. But what we do know is Drive to Survive season 3 and 4 is going to be chef's kiss. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, but that's if it's not all the Alonso show, because I'm not being funny. Drive to Survive, I was like,
Alonso has got a documentary coming out on Amazon Prime, so hopefully he will stick there. Maybe he'll refuse to get filmed. Maybe because he's got contract with Amazon, we won't see Alonso Drive to Survive. What a blessing that would be.
I love that.
Oh God. I think we all have been quite negative, but I know personally I would love to see Alonso come back and win races and actually bring the midfield back up, and it would be amazing, but I just don't think any of us really think that's going to happen, and that it probably will just be a little bit toxic.
It would be a great story, wouldn't it? It would be fantastic.
It would be amazing.
If he was in a different car, like a better car, then I'd be like, okay, I understand. Like, yes, it's great. People are going to be watching it again because he's back in it, but just being in Renault, I have no idea.
I think it'll bring some more like older fans back that probably left because of Fernando, and it's not a bad thing. It's nothing against Fernando. It's not like we're saying, oh my gosh, he's such a bad driver. It's the fact that I'm looking at Guan Yu Zhou, I'm looking at Christian Lundgaard, I'm looking at Max Futrell, Caio Collet, I'm looking at all these drivers, and I'm thinking, where is your place now? And it's more of a criticism towards Renault than Fernando. Fernando's just the person that's kind of getting the stick for it. I reckon even if it was, we'd be a little more happy if it was Nico Hülkenberg, but situation.
Yeah, I think definitely it's either going to be a fairy tale story or a nightmare. It'd be interesting to see if Renault actually did well and he was somehow, by some miracle, fighting up there with Lewis. That'd be amazing to see. And I think it'll also be interesting for a lot of kind of the younger fans that are coming through Drive to Survive, through kind of the Twitch streams of a lockdown, to actually find out more about older drivers, because I think very much now there seems to be more of a generational divide, like between the newer drivers and the older drivers. So it'd be interesting to see.
Big time. Yeah, no, I completely agree. So that is it for our first video. I will do so many more of these. Obviously, this is one topic. There'll probably be so many more things we can talk about. Also, let us know in the comment section below what else you want us to talk about. If there's anything else that's burning that you might want us to have a chat about, we will definitely do that. And yeah, also let us know a name for this, because we're not in
we need a name.
Help. But thank you for watching. I will leave all the girls' links down below. Please go and check them out. They have amazing channels, and also subscribe to me while you're here. And I will see you again soon for another video. Goodbye.
Bye.